Are you listening? Damn.
Roethlisberger for a walk in the end zone. His second touchdown.
Yeah.
And the ball is loose. Third and 4.
Yo, what's going on? Hey guys, I know we're a little bit late. You know we have to give a therapy session to my boy before we start the stream. That's why we're late. Trust me, that's why we're late. Anyway, we're here on a very great day where 3 of the 4 blocks came in with a W. One of the blocks was a surprise to now, and we definitely got to discuss that today. But hey, Ace, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing very good. I mean, I feel energized right now. We're going to get into it, but I feel great today. I almost didn't go to sleep last night.
Q can flash his X. He has the X over there from the Xbox, and a great day on Monday. How you doing, Q?
You know what, guys? I apologize for the stream starting late. They did have to console me. They had to have an intervention with me before the show started because I'm overdosing on these Steeler tears right now. I'm ODing on them boys right now. And I need to be stopped. It's not week 17 yet.
And Mr. Tony.
Oh, listen, I started my honeymoon this week. You're coming to you from a hotel, so if the Wi-Fi is crap, I apologize for that. But, I can't think of a better way to start this week than talking about what was the worst Steeler performance. The worst Steeler game I can remember since the 1994 AFC Championship game against the San Diego Chargers. Can't wait. Can't wait to spend the next hour and a half talking to you guys about this game.
By the way, that's dedication. My man called in on his honeymoon just to get roasted for about an hour and a half.
I'm not talking this one. Not talking this one. No,
I don't ever want to hear disrespect towards Tony. Tony, don't take it. Tony, don't. Nah. This man on his honeymoon going to take abuse on his channel.
I can't wait.
So before we start here, thank you for the donation here in the Super Chat. And by the way, Super Chats are available if you want your comments to get highlighted or questions. Please do so. And Feeling Dangerous 113. Thank you, Bengals. Go Browns. What is it they say? Dog check, right? Is that what they said? That's you're gonna see a lot of that too.
Check. Say it
okay. No, I can say it like that. And another super chat here before we go to the first game from the trip. Whatever it was, the Steelers driver Juju, the dancer of fighting for sack, they saved his job. I said 4-year extension, but this might be Marvin's point.
I appreciate the trip trying to cheer me up already. I appreciate that. You're right. It's a 60 chess that Tomlin and Ben are playing right now.
40 chess.
And then Misfit says, Freddie Kitchen, that's hilarious. Browns by 40. More like Browns by 14. But we still got that dub. And then, as Quincy said, dog check. And then Corvette from future NFL MVP.
On repeat all day today.
Okay.
All day today, running up the streams.
Oh my goodness, it's been great. But let's start with the Browns game. And guys, I apologize for you Browns fans because this is gonna be quick, and I apologize for you Ravens fans because this is gonna be quick too. But I'm gonna throw it to my guy Q. What do you thought about that game, man?
Hey, if you want to know more about how I feel about this game, just go on my channel, check it out there. Y'all know what today is about, but I'm not going to get into what today is about. Real quick, just talk about this.
It's not even AFC North talk anymore.
No, this is. Oh yeah, y'all was getting hyped for about 11 weeks down in Pittsburgh, and now,
Can we? I think we got about 20-30 minutes here on the Browns. I think we can fill some time here.
No.
First point. What y'all gonna keep saying about Baker Mayfield? I don't know what y'all gonna keep saying about Baker Mayfield. I don't care what y'all keep saying about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's playing at an amazing level, plus 80 completion percentage, moved the ball flawlessly down the field. The Browns absolutely dominated the New York Giants. It wasn't a massive score, but that was a complete domination. It's 7 possessions. This is about as much as you can dominate another football team. Browns showed up. Browns did that. Myles Garrett's still recovering from COVID. Hopefully he comes back good. he's struggling right now, though. So I'm actually really concerned about that. And, you know, they got to win that game against the Jets. AFC playoff race is what it is. There are no guarantees unless you win all the way out. And even if you do, if you're like the Ravens, it's still not guaranteed.
Nope.
But if you're the Browns, if you win out, it is guaranteed for you. So, you know, not much to cover there. Moving on to the Jets, taking care of business. And then, you know, hopefully it's a big game in Cleveland versus the Steelers in Week 17.
Okay, so we got a couple super chats before we go to the Ravens game here. We got, let me see. Did we miss one from the trip?
Yep.
Need the Browns to take that L, though. No disrespect, you ain't happening, Trip. Ain't happening.
Pray for Miami to take that L to the Raiders.
Miami's the easiest path.
The
And then you-
Baltimore Raiders.
Oh, so wait, you know, because the Bills might not have anything to play for Week 17 because the Steelers
No,
might have
they're
lost out by then.
not. They're not. The Steelers
They
are
have
about to lose that.
lose at that point.
So
That's what
Mark
I'm saying. So
Hunt
the
said-
Bills don't have anything to play for, so the Dolphins will win out. That's what I'm saying.
I know. That's my point.
Yeah.
So Mark Hunt says AFC North up for grabs. See you Week 17, Tony. And this is something that I did
can't wait
say
for that one.
before I go to the Ravens. I told Tony, if you guys lose to the Bengals, you ain't going to win any more games for the rest of the year. I do think the Browns will pull this
if you lose to
division.
the Bengals, yes, I agree. You're not going to win anymore.
So, Ravens game. This Ravens game was very, very, very snooze fest. Although it started with a pick, Lamar tried to throw deep. And this game basically for the Ravens was, let's not run as much with Lamar. Let's just try to beat them through the pocket. Let me say something, too, about a guy from the other team, Miles Jack. Whatever they're paying that dude, they ain't paying them enough because wherever the ball was going to do, the dude was just tackling. I don't know how many tackles he ended up with, but the dude was there in every single play. A guy that I wanted the Ravens to draft, and they traded out, so the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted him there. But, I mean, the Ravens dominated this game. It was 40-14, 7 points late. They only had one good play on a wheel route to Robinson for a touchdown. Other than that, it was just a snooze fest, man. I mean, I haven't felt this calm for a while with the Ravens game, right? I was just like, it was just cruise control all day, even on the pick, because as soon as the pick happened, we got the defense pull of a safety, right? And then we marched down and scored a touchdown, and after that, it was over there. So saying this, it's just, you know, the Ravens took against a bad opponent. They basically said, Peters, if this was a priority game, you will play. We don't need you for this game. Jimmy Smith, we don't need you for this game. Campbell, I know you want to play for this game. You're still hurt. Go sit your ass down. We don't need you for this game. Defense came there, still did their thing against, I'm not going to put a lot of stock, a bad opponent. Ravens took care of it. Big W. So that's all I have to say for the Ravens. Let's check the super chats that we have. I think we had a couple before we go to my guy Ace, so we can break this Steelers Bengals game. Joshua Mater, hopefully I didn't botch your last name. Sorry if I did. Literally took the planet's alignment for the Bengals to win a prime time game.
They just took the Steelers showing up. They just did the same thing they always do.
Shout out to you. That was a good comment. And here, big donation here for Richard Gonzalez. Thank you for your donation. Von Bell for Ohio Teacher of the Year. Heck yeah, what a hit. Steelers are in serious trouble of losing the division, and there's Juju still dancing in the 50. Ace, help me, brother.
Hold on, man. I got some things here for me. I got some turnovers, courtesy of Ben Roethlisberger. Chef Ben is cooking.
Let him cook. Let him
Yeah,
cook.
we said last week.
Get
Let
some
Ben
hot
cook.
L's, some hot turnovers.
Hey, Ace finally got a prop, baby. Let's go.
Hey, I was in Publix and I asked them, I was like, you know, where can I find the turnovers? They were like, you know, they're on aisle 7. If they're not there, they're on aisle 19. You know, so for me going into this game, you guys know, I didn't think that we had a shot to win this game, right? But this is just bad to lose to not only Ryan Finley, who threw for like 80 yards in this game,
Vanilla Vic.
Zach Taylor to outcoach Mike Tomlin in a game to make Ryan Finley look like Michael Vick is absurd. This might be worse than the Tebow loss. This might be worse than the Tebow loss. It's worse than the Tebow loss. I don't think anybody expected this. And then we talk about Juju, right? So He's continuing this thing, and we always get on OBJ, but why don't we get on Juju? Juju does all of this outlandish
I've
stuff
been getting on Juju.
that
Yeah,
nobody talks about, right? And so, I'm like, all right, he's gonna dance because he thinks that they're gonna just murder us. And so, like, if you guys have been following this during the week leading up, they interviewed Von Bell about Juju, and they were like, how do you feel about the dancing? And he was just like, this guy, he was like, he's very young-minded, but he was like, you have to give them their props because they're at the top now. But we're going to have to show them when it comes to on the field that we're going to hit them. And it's just crazy that you see this play happen. Juju comes out, dances at the 50. Von Bell meets him at the 50, literally, and destroys him. It just goes viral in a bad way. And then the guy that picks up the ball is number 50. It was just crazy. That's like some bad juju for you. But the thing that shocked me the most.
You got to give him that. He did go viral. That's what he wants.
Hey, TikTok star.
Yeah, he's a TikTok star. Listen, he did it.
He did go viral. But, like, as a Bengals fan, I was defeated going into this game. That literally breathed life back into me. Like, that whole play, that just set the tone. And when I watched the game, it was crazy because traditionally when we played the Steelers, they've usually been the bullies. It wasn't until Vontaze Burfict kind of came, we got some of that bullying thing. But traditionally, since this has gone on, it's been that they were the bullies. The Steelers look soft. I've never seen the Steelers look that soft like ever. Like we were more physical than them. That defense came out humming. Ben was just giving us gifts left and right. Like it was Christmas already. Christmas came early for us. But when you look at this game, it just was crazy because I would have never thought, like I called saying the Bengals were going to split this year. I didn't think it was going to be with Ryan Finley at quarterback. I thought this was going to be Joe Burrow sneaking one in. But Ryan Finley, for this to happen and it be Ryan Finley, we had to go crazy last night. We had to go crazy. I almost didn't want to go to sleep. We were smoking on that Steelers pack all last night. Steelers pack was on fire, and oh my goodness, it was just a multitude of amazing things. And I think, like you said, the planets aligned. That's why I kept telling people, I'm like, all right, we know how this usually ends. The Steelers are going to come back. Ben's going to come back. But nah, it's the planets have aligned. It's different now. So we can win this game. The Bengals went out and took care of business. Zach Taylor, as much as you guys know that I hate him, he handled his business. One thing that he hasn't been able to do this season is take care of the ball in situations and situational footballs. We've seen the Bengals give up so many leads this season. This is the first time this man committed to the run. I don't know who was coaching last night because it didn't seem like it was Zach Taylor. But apparently the calls that he made there, Lou Anarumo in that defense was insane. It was crazy last night. Got to give my man Darius Phillips definitely some props too. He gave up a touchdown to Deontay Johnson, but had what I think is the play of the game where he makes that play at the end to deflect the pass so that it's not a completion, pretty much giving the Bengals the win. William Jackson III had some issues. I mean, he dropped an easy interception. I couldn't believe he dropped that. And that's when I started to think, oh, we're going to do something to mess this up. But the Steelers just couldn't do anything. Like the run game was horrible. Everything that the Steelers were doing just was not working. And I was just like, what is going on? What did I do to deserve this? Because I will take it again. I will go 2-10-1.
Merry Christmas, Ace.
Relive that. One more.
Exactly.
That's all I got to say. I hope that Big Ben definitely is done. And I hope that we just opened the final chapter of Big Ben and the turnovers to be continued. And
okay, before we
maybe they may not be continuing much longer than 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so before we keep going here with Q, let's go here with a couple super chats we have because I don't want to get too buried on them. But Jock Cockensberg is the next one. He says, as a Browns fan, all I gotta say is
hooray! Let's go.
Hooray, baby.
And then here from Misfit Culture TV says, hooray, hooray, hooray. Hooray, say can beat them Bengals?
Nobody. With Ryan Finley. Corvette. Let's go.
That's for Ace. Dog check. Let me see here. Would you do that on the Browns logo in 2 weeks?
Him and Tomlin, I don't know if you guys saw this today. Him and Tomlin are gonna have a very serious talk now about whether or not, we're all professionals here. I don't think it had anything to do with motivation. Tomlin stuff on the Juju stuff. Tomlin always does this, where he just denies that he understands what social media is. Right? If you ask Tomlin,
what's technology?
what is Twitter? I don't even know what is
Brown.
TikTok. I never heard of TikTok. So that's the first thing he says. He was asked about this last week, and they said, what about Juju going to the 50-yard line? Right? Have you talked? I don't even know. He says, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's Tomlin's first answer. Then he was asked about it again today. And his answer today was, oh yeah, I'm going to talk to Juju about it. So I guess he got a little insight into what TikTok is, and then the fact that the thing about Juju going to the 50 is it's cute, Juju, when you're doing that when the Steelers are 9-0 and 10-0 and 11-0, but you just lost 2 straight, okay, including two embarrassing losses on national TV. Hey, maybe we cool it with I'm going to go to the 50-yard line. Oh, I'm going to be a professional. And then if you're going to go out there and you're going to do that and you're going to go play like crap and you're going to give up the fumble, anyway, I know you guys want to keep going over here, but it is frustrating to me. And
can't wait for you.
Who just denies that this stuff exists. I don't even know what you're talking about, right? And the player's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this, even though I'm playing like crap. Who cares? We're just gonna keep doing it.
More TikTok.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then we have Rex Fortune says Juju has more TikTok than yards in a game. Remember, Juju said he was a what? TikTok star. So, and we have one more, right? I think from Willie. Corvette, dog pound. Okay, Q. I can't wait to hear from you, man.
Well, the good news for Juju is that he plays a game at home, and the Cleveland Browns literally have no 50-yard line logo. We're old school with it. We don't have, so he can't get in trouble there. That's
right.
not.
I like my chances now.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, we have a stripe on the 50-yard line, but I would hope he's smart enough not to. I think the Browns will have people out there to make sure that don't happen because we're done with that stuff. But speaking of the stuff that we're done with, this felt like 2019 Browns. This is exactly what the 2019 Browns felt like when they started to melt down. And you could feel it, right? Steelers coming to this game, you could almost feel Bengals fans being like, all right, man, let's see if we can give them a quarter of hell. This is all the Bengals fans are really like, let's not get embarrassed. Let's go out there. Then the Bengals defense to start this game looks like the 85 Bears. They look like the Steelers defense did at the beginning of the season. Like the most unstoppable thing you've ever seen in your life. And then the Juju thing happens. And look, here's the layers to the Juju thing. I normally do not care when somebody does something goofy. Oh yeah, Odell's on, TikTok doing whatever. But there are lines to it, right? The one line is don't dance on somebody else's logo. That's pretty known. You don't do that. That's stupid. And he kept on doing it. It reminds me of Baker, where Baker kept on just poking people for no reason. He's got to say something about Daniel Jones being trash. He's got to say something about he thinks this team's over. It's just shut up, Baker, sometimes, right? And that was Baker all 2019. It was frustrating. Juju keep poking the bear. And the frustrating part with Juju, he's not even been good this year to be poking the bear. And then he goes out there, has the double ball, spikes the thing, and then the caption was hilarious. It was like, well, they told me I should stop doing this, but I'm going to be me. I got a
typo in it. It had a typo. I was like,
bro, you could be you on the sideline. Nobody's trying to stop you from dancing. We don't care if you dance. Just don't dance on the 50-yard line. But the fact that you want to do it on the 50-yard line tells me you want the attention. You want all of this to come to you. You want people to talk about Juju Smith-Schuster dancing on the 50-yard line at the Bengals game. I hate when players do that, where they do something that they know is going to get attention, and then they be like, I don't know why everybody's focusing on it, because you're literally doing that. So, of course, it is no surprise that when Von Bell has the opportunity on the 50-yard line, that it looks like you might get the ball, he crashes down harder than he's ever crashed down on his life on that play to knock you out, because he's been thinking about this. This is what you don't want to do to another NFL defense. This is fine in college when you're playing Tulane or something like that and you're USC. What's up, man?
I just want to say because it was on the exact play the Steelers always run in that situation. I believe it was a 3rd and 7. They ran Juju on a crosser. I mean, it's a play that they run over and over and over again. So Von Bell, was not only sitting on Juju, he was sitting on that route and that concept in that situation. It
gets bad. It gets bad. And of course, Von Bell, hey, he knocked I said it on Twitter to Ace. I was like, yo, he turned his TikToks into vines. That's how hard he hit. He knocked them back to 2016. Like, it was bad. And then he fumbled. And once that fumbled happened, and you saw Chuksa Ford like just start pushing dudes like late. I was like, oh, the Steelers don't look like they're composed at all. And it wasn't like the Bengals were composed at all either. Like, they were like, yo, we out here, we doing this. Like, they were full on that energy juice in the first half. Like, you had the one guy do the primetime tip when he wasn't anywhere near the end zone. Like, that was the level of juice they were on. But that's the problem.
I stepped out of bounds of the 40.
That's a problem. You can't let a team like the Bengals, who is a bad team, but I feel like they underperform more than they are just straight up bad, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You can't let them think they can win on Monday Night Football at home with enough fans to make it feel like it's a little bit of an atmosphere. And anybody knows in Ohio, if you up on the Steelers, it's gonna get loud. I don't care if there's 60 people, 1,000, like, it's gonna get loud there. It's gonna sound like a full stadium. And once that started to happen, I was like, okay, this could get out of hand for Pittsburgh. But also, it's Ryan Finley. Like, there's no way this continues with Ryan Finley. Big Ben finally, like, the rumor about Big Ben getting pulled hits like the internet. And I'm like, okay, this is what Ben uses to motivate himself to tie this game up by the end of the third quarter, because the Bengals are notoriously trash. And I don't think they've scored a third quarter touchdown since like week 7. It definitely was like Joe Burrow when he was there. And okay, this is where the game comes back. This is where the fairy tale ends. All right, man. This ain't happening. Like, there's no way this is happening, right? They don't take the lead back. They get the one drive. It looks great to Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson goes down for a couple of drives, and he was literally the only piece on offense that was doing anything. Juju wasn't. Chase Claypool, he was getting held a lot. Like, I'll give him that, but he wasn't making any of those spectacular plays he was making early on in the season. And Ben's not getting the ball to him. And it got progressively worse. And if you're Steeler fans, I got to ask you, like, this seems like it should be the bottom. Losing to the 2-win Bengals, like, this should be the bottom. Monday Night Football, this should be as embarrassing as it gets. But you're nowhere close to the bottom, because the bottom is going 11-0 and not even winning your division. That's the bottom. And then having like an like, Pittsburgh fans, the bottom of the bell is if like you lose to the Browns and lose the division in week 17, play them in the playoffs again and lose again. That's the bottom. Like, if this is the trajectory you want to go on, it gets much worse than this. And I'm just wondering, at what point? It was pretty bad yesterday. They were calling for Mason Rudolph. Like we did not watch him play last year. I was like, yo.
But hold on. Ben Roethlisberger had negative 6-yard passing at halftime. I mean, it wasn't like, I understand Mason Rudolph is bad, but Ben Roethlisberger was as bad as I've ever seen him. Look, I don't know that I've seen a Steeler quarterback play as poorly as he did for a half football. Negative yards passing for a half. I mean, at that point, I think you have to think about benching Ben Roethlisberger because, again.
I've seen Rudolph enough. No,
but I agree that Rudolph is not going to make it substantially better. Here's the point, though, right? And I don't want to go my whole thing yet, but obviously, if they had Duck active, the game switches in that moment. They win by 1,000. They're going to win the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, he's on the practice squad at this point. No, but I think the point here, though, and the thing that Steelers fans have to realize is that it didn't matter at that point, right? We got to halftime. It was 17-0. The offense couldn't move the football. Even if Ben Roethlisberger came out in the second half, lit him up, came back and won the game. Does that change anything for Steelers fans? Do we all of a sudden, are we getting on this show today and we're saying, well, the Steelers were just fine. They figured it out in the second half against the Bengals and they came back, right? No, of course not. The problem for the Steelers is that it's the same thing every week. It doesn't matter who you put out there. You could put Jacksonville out there. You could put Dallas out there. You could put Baltimore out there. You put Washington out there, Buffalo, now Cincinnati. It doesn't matter. This offense cannot move the football with any consistency. And it doesn't matter who's out there. Their problems, as I said this before, their problems are not opponent related. They are self-inflicted wounds by their own team, and they can't get over themselves at this point. They will lose to literally any football team you put out there at this point. They will lose to Indianapolis this week. They will lose to Cleveland in 2 weeks, and they will get embarrassed in the playoffs. And you're right, Quincy. The most embarrassing thing for the Steelers fans right now is that we have to keep watching this. There are 3 more games we are guaranteed to play. This season is over and done with. I said this after Washington, right? This team is broken and it's probably not fixable. Okay, and Steelers fans called me haters at the time, but everything that's happened since then, I think, has been pretty much right. The problem is, I want it to be over now. Like I'm pushing the eject button. Hey, I'm done here. I've seen all I need to see. This team is not going to get better. In fact, they're actually getting worse, and we'll get into that. But I want off this ride.
And you know what? You may bring up an interesting point, because I was like, yo, what is going wrong with the Steelers? How do you start that good and look like this at this point in the season? And I said it to you at the beginning of the season. I was wrong, obviously, about the win-loss total. But I remember joking about, like, yo, the check engine light's on with this team every year, right? Like, there are structural issues with the team, like, every year, but it ends up being fine. So you don't really, like, worry about it as much. You don't do the maintenance on it that you might have done. Like, the running game, that check engine light's been on, but, it hasn't gone off. And it's like, now it's like 10 years of just, like, ignoring some of these issues are finally just starting to just crumble this team from the inside out. The running game problems, like the whole physicality thing, they've been trying to fix that since they played the Ravens. That's not getting fixed anytime soon. Like,
I don't know that they're. I don't know. We can. It's an interesting debate. What have they been trying to fix since Baltimore? Did they come out of Baltimore thinking that anything was wrong, or did they come out of Baltimore going, okay, we got to win here, let's move on to Dallas? Right?
When
did the changes actually start?
Yeah, when you're calling your team publicly a JV performance, like you have to have tried to do something, especially when your next game was what? Well, you lost to the Washington football team.
And it got worse.
You played the Bills, and it got worse against the Bills. Mm-hmm. You play Cincinnati, and it's worse than I've ever seen it. And it's like, are they trying to fix it, or is fixing it the problem at this point? Like, is Mr. Fix It, like, is it one of those situations where a coach tries to get on the headset and everybody's like, oh, here come Mr. Fix It, and it gets worse? Because again, Browns fan, I've seen that happen where the head coach gets on the headset and it makes everything worse. And I can't believe that's what Tomlin's doing out there.
Well, this is the third straight year that the Steelers will have lost 3 games in December.
Okay, so go ahead, Q.
Yeah, and it's like these things are just piling on top. When somebody said, like, one of the big problems with the run game is that the short passing game does not complement a run game. And I was like, yeah, that's a structural problem. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. Like, the playbook is the playbook. Ben's not about to air it out at the end of the season when he hasn't had a ton of rest. Like, he's not about to just start chucking it 40 yards down the field. That's a massive problem. There's no real fix to that. Like, you can fire Randy Finkner, or you can bench, you can bench Ben Roethlisberger and put in Mason Rudolph. And yes, the ball will go further downfield, but it won't be much more accurate, or the decision making isn't going to be that much better. Also, they're not going to protect. Like, the line's going to look worse if Mason Rudolph's back there, because it's not like he's going to hold the ball. Like, he's going to hold the ball longer than Ben does. That just is what it is. Running game, like, you're hoping for James Conner to fix the running game. That's not a good solution. I heard people talk about, well, when Vince Williams gets back, it's going to be a whole nother game for the Steelers defense. If Vince Williams is your solution, you don't have a solution. Like, that just, like, I like Vince Williams, but, like, he's not, like, the problem is, like, now you're down to, like, I don't know who is opposite of TJ Watt anymore. When that defense, and that defense is still good, but they're not top level, like, like generationally good. Yeah,
they're a joke. That defense is a joke after last night. Joke.
And it's now like, when you don't have all these guys at all these spots, some of these tendencies and some of these ways that you go about it, the aggressiveness that you have with the Steelers, when you don't get home, or when you're overcommitting to the running back because you don't think White might go and pull that thing and go with it, which I don't know how that man had. How many yards did he have rushing? He had to have like 60.
It was like 60, I think.
It was a legitimate threat. And let me tell you something. Ryan Finley is slower than Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield's not somebody who puts the fear of anything into somebody when he starts to run. Like, and it just made no
27 sense. Yards untouched. 27 yards untouched for a touchdown.
Joe Hayden starting, like, it's like somebody hit the old button. Joe Hayden just looks old. He just looks old. He just does. Like, I thought when he left Cleveland he was done. But he had the fountain of youth had touched him. Now it's gone. Like, I don't know what the Steelers can do at this point. Like, this isn't you're missing a player. You're going to get that player back. Like with the Ravens, like when we were dogging on the Ravens a couple of weeks ago because they had lost like 3 straight and things look really bad for them. They're still trying to recover from that. They at least had like things going on. Like they had an outbreak. They had all these players gone. Brandon Williams wasn't there. Calais Campbell. Like, yeah, it was embarrassing how they lost to the Titans that last play of the game. But it's like you can understand why that happened. With the Steelers, it's like you got injuries, but dog, like it's Ryan Finley. And I heard people on Twitter saying, well, the Steelers got injuries. It's Ryan Finley. You think the Bengals ain't got injuries? Have you seen their offensive line? Like,
Ace, you're muted, Ace.
Fred Johnson was starting.
Yeah,
Fred Johnson was starting. No Joe Mixon, no Joe Burrow, no Jonah Williams, no anybody.
No, Steeler fans who make the argument that, oh, well, the defense was injured and that's why they played so poorly last night. It is a joke. It is a joke of an argument. This is a Bengals offense that has the worst. We've ragged on it all year about how bad this offensive line is. They don't even have their best offensive line. Jonah Williams is hurt. Okay, so they don't have their best offensive line. They're trash on the offensive line. They don't have their starting quarterback in Joe Burrow. They don't even have their backup quarterback, Joe Mixon. He's not in the game. And by the way, Tyler Boyd, their best wide receiver, he got hurt like 6 plays into the game. So give me a break, Steeler fans. That but Dupree is hurt. Oh, and that's why they couldn't stop Ryan Finley from running. I'm gonna freak out right now. But like they can't stop Ryan Finley from running 27 yards untouched. No, you know why they can't? Because it's an undisciplined defense that cannot defend read option. Okay, look at every time they play read option. We got embarrassed in week 17 last year. Okay, then we should have got embarrassed by Lamar Jackson. Thank goodness Lamar Jackson came up big for us because, by the way, they ran right through this defense. And then RG3 until he pulled this friggin' hammy on a 16-yard run. Okay, he was running through this defense as well. So give me a break with injuries. No, this is an undisciplined defense when it comes to read option. And until they start figuring that out, again, it was ballsy of Zach Taylor to call it, but it was a brilliant move by them because this defense had no answers. And I don't want to hear about injury. And I do not want to hear about snap counts. Like they were too tired to catch up with Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley ran 27 yards untouched for a touchdown. It's an image that will be forever ingrained in my memory. I cannot believe it happened. It is exactly like watching Tim Tebow throw an 80-yard touchdown in overtime. I can't believe it happened. Again, there are no answers to how and why.
Isn't there a notable Steelers fan that has to get Ryan Finley tattooed on his arm for losing that game? I saw that earlier. Some guy that's a Steelers fan has to get Ryan Finley tatted on his arm.
I couldn't believe what I saw when he ran that in. I was like, I'm watching a Lamar highlight in slow motion right now because that looks like a Lamar highlight, right? Where he pulls in,
dynamite.
Nobody's near. Lamar does like the both hands. He's over Winfrey, and then he does the layup. I was like, that's a Lamar highlight. But no, this he definitely don't look like Lamar. He's not running like Lamar. Like, it's Napoleon Dynamite as Lamar Jackson against the Pittsburgh. What in the world? I couldn't explain it, dog.
Rico.
Okay, so we have a bunch of super chat. Let me get real quick, and then we'll resume this conversation because we have a bunch. Let's start with the trip saying y'all need a running game since Bell left game.
Too. That's the crazy part.
We should have gotten Bell this year.
Another one from Jake says, so many great Bengal plays, but laying out Juju is the top of my list. Okay, I have oh no, where is it? I lost it. Hold on. Oh no, I lost the super chat. Hold on.
I can probably pull it up in YouTube actually. See if I have it.
Yes, let's go there.
The last one I have is the Baker one. I don't know if that's the next one in line, but there's.
Go with the Baker one then, because I cannot see them anymore. So if we miss any of your super chat, please let us know. Baker planting the flag in college, Bosa planting the flag in the NFL. People remember, don't disrespect people's home. Shout out to William. Another one from William says, Baker is still my QB though. Shout out to him. Any other super chat we had left?
By the way, 2019 Browns learned that disrespect thing. That don't go well. That's why they're part of the reason when Freddie Kitchens was wearing the Pittsburgh started shirt like that. That's what Juju doing that dance on that logo was akin to. Freddie Kitchens it's not as bad because Freddie Kitchens is the head coach. Like, let me be clear on that. But that's as kin to Freddie Kitchens wearing that stupid Pittsburgh started it shirt the day before you play the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field in a game you need to win for the playoffs, just to let's just make them angry. Let's just see what, because the Browns were good at that point. Like, it's just, I don't get it, dog. Like, the lack of tact to pull a move like that, and it was like the lack of it's so weird to see a Steelers team. Like, normally they're able to turn it on. Normally you're not able to get them to be undisciplined like that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched enough Steelers football, but that was just, if I weren't a Browns fan and enjoying this tremendously, I'd be pretty embarrassed for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because this is like, this can't be. When everybody talks about the Steelers being the top flight organization, one of the best places to go. This is such a great, the Rooney family. This ain't it. Like, this is something I expected from like the god awful Freddie Kitchens Browns to pull out there. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mike Tomlin at head coach going out there and acting dysfunctional.
I think it's official. I think we've been wondering if they're overrated. I'm pretty sure this answer.
Okay, let me go with Codex here. It says, can the Steelers beat anybody in the AFC playoff picture at the moment with the way things are going? Hell to the no. And then
there's another one. There's another one here, Sonny, that you can't see. There's one from Too Many Clamps.
Yes.
Big Ben be like the kid on Rookie of the Year after he lost his super throwing ability.
That's a good one, man. Thank you for the donation. Guys, thank you for everybody that is donating. If you miss anything, please let us know. The super chat's getting very quickly, and then there's a timer, and the timer expires, and then YouTube, for some reason, doesn't highlight anymore and makes it a pain. But shout out to all you guys. The Trip says, I was saying that the general manager is hiding. A lot is going to be put on Hall of Fame coach Mike Tomlin, but be real. How better have they gotten in 5 years? Yeah, I'm assuming the Steelers. How better?
Well, I think
their way to 7. I don't know.
No, I think the general manager. Look, I think the general manager has done a very good job defensively, right? I mean, obviously, this defense was, obviously, they took off last year. They are a top 5 defense. Offensively, I think you can certainly have some questions about. There was that draft where they took. I mean, they have a draft where they took Terrell Edmonds, who ends up being a decent player, right? Terrell Edmonds ends up not being the monumental bust.
Not a first round pick.
He's borderline, right? Because he started every year, and he's actually, he's starter capable at this point. Okay, second round, James Washington, right? Now, as much as I love James Washington, maybe not great. Third round is Mason Rudolph and Chuks Okorafor, who is playing, or Okorafor, I don't remember how you pronounce it, but that's Mason Rudolph, complete bust, and Okorafor, who is supposed to be this right tackle the Steelers can trust. We found out last night, like both tackles got absolutely blasted on any play where Ben wanted to drop back for more than 2 seconds.
Yep. So here's another super chat from Feeling Dangerous. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the donation. Q, is there a better way to rid the Browns of their demons? Get rid of the Browns, their demons, than beating Big Ben at home for division. I see it coming.
Here's the interesting thing about this, too. The Browns against the Giants, I had joked all week, but I was kind of serious, where it was like, they're exercising their old demons. Like, you have all these faces of the crappy Browns on there, Jabal Sheard, Freddie Kitchens, all these guys who are on the crappy Browns. And you just got to beat the crappy Browns one more time so you don't still become the crappy Browns. So they exercised that demon, and apparently Big Ben had his mouth wide open because all the old Browns just went straight into Big Ben's brain and just guided all of his decision-making, because that was peak. Like, I thought Brandon Whedon was out there for a second on some of those decisions. I was like, he's trying to throw these interceptions right now. Like, he's not – well, no, that's not even right. Brandon Whedon would throw deep. Like, he would at least go deep.
Okay, so before we keep going, there's one more super chat, but also we have 694 people watching. Shout out to all of you, but can you?
How many of you think are Steeler fans?
Over yards than Juju has this season. We got more.
All right, I got
give it a quick like to this video.
Yeah, I got a request for Steeler fans. If there are Steeler fans in the chat right now, first of all, I mean, props to you for being here today. My goodness, I am contractually obligated to be here. Otherwise, I'd be like you hiding. But if you aren't here, just give me a sad face in chat, just so I know there are other Steeler fans here with me.
Okay, so Jake says lack of discipline, total loss of control by the coaching staff could have happened to a better group. Pathetic. And there was one more super chat, and then I'm gonna give you my take. Not a shot, but the Steelers' problem is Ben. They are in the Eli Manning situation. He's done so much for you that you feel you can move on. And I mean, Big Ben is not as bad as Eli at the end of his career. Eli was basically just throwing. Eli was not gonna pull an 11-0.
Yeah, but dog, like at least with Eli, they weren't trying to throw the ball 50 times. Like
we gotta stop talking about this. Like, this is a tale of two seasons for Ben Roethlisberger. He's not the same player.
But it's not. So a couple of things. I did say early in the year that I had concerns for Big Ben be throwing 50 times a game because it was going to catch up to him. I was making fun because they were winning, blah, 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 and I got it. Look, the reality is this past Monday, one thing that the Steelers found was a decent running game for the most part, 84 yards. So there was some movement. But Tony, you roll your eyes, but you will think if there's some movement on the running side, that would open it up. But no. Do you know what I'm very concerned about? Is that O-line. That O-line was so bad. And the Bengals are not known. Look, the Bengals D-line was good early in the year, and we all know the people that they lost and all this stuff. That Bengal O-line or D-line is a shell of itself, but they came and ball out.
Yeah.
Against the Steelers O-line, they used to be good. Not very good right now. That is concerning because who they play next week? The Colts. Very good D-line. And then the Browns, they have Myles Garrett. That is concerning. That was my biggest surprise. Obviously, the receiving core has been a problem, but how many drops? None or maybe one. 0, right? Yeah. So 0. Obviously, I said they were going to have more drops than 4 or 5, whatever it was the number that we put last week. They had 0 drops. So no drops. Decent running attack, right? Not great, but for Steelers, past games was good. So if I tell you, by the way, they're playing the Bengals, they're not going to get any drops, and they're going to rush over 80 yards, you would have thought big W, right? Against the Bengals? Oh, yeah, no. The problem was Big Ben was trying, in my opinion, to do too much. Even though he didn't throw for 50, he was trying to do too much. He was forcing some balls. Yeah. As Tony said before we started the stream, he got lucky. So I went back and watched this game because I came home early from work. And he was lucky that he didn't get more interceptions. It was funny because Lamar, when we played the Bengals, in my opinion, should have had like 3 picks, right? The Bengals kept dropping interceptions. And this is how this game against the Bengals and Steelers was so close. Bengals dropped, an easy interception for Willie Jackson III, but also those tip balls, Ben had to pray for those tip balls because that would have been an interception. The guy was in somebody's hip or, the defense for the Bengals, something motivated them. And look, the Bengals could win and not lose. Not like the Jets, they won and lost because they lost the draft pick. The Bengals could have won and didn't matter because as long as they don't win anymore, they will hold that third seed or third spot.
They can win one more, right? Right, Ace? They can win one more?
Well, I don't want us to win one more because we're still like, if we win one more and let's just say, for instance, everyone behind us loses, it's a potential that we can move all the way down to like.
Okay, because okay. Joe Goodberry was saying today they could potentially win one more. So okay.
No, I think So they could have won a game, and they said, well, the Steelers are coming here, they're celebrating.
Yeah, now that game. That's if Joe was talking about it last night's game. Yes, we could win that game because there's like there was a 2-game difference between us and 4th place.
Yeah. Gotcha. So the big thing was then they see Juju dancing and they're like, oh hell no, they ain't gonna celebrate here the division because they know you're looking at the division, you're looking to see a schedule, you're like, well, they think we're the pushover because they probably can beat the next 2 and they can lock and wrap up the division. Nah, not on our watch. They came, they ball, they play with intensity. The Steelers showed no heart in this game, none. The game was still there in the 4th quarter, right? They were still there. They couldn't. The Steelers had nothing to give up, no energy. the Steelers look shocked, and it's crazy, but that hit against Juju almost sucked the life out of the Steelers and brought it to the Bengals, and the Bengals did just enough for them to keep that game. Ryan Finley, all he had to do was attempt 13 passes, complete 7 for a whopping 89 yards, a touchdown, and run 5 miles per hour. Not 5, 2.5 miles per hour, and that untouched touchdown, rushing touchdown. Gio Bernard, a guy that is a decent back, but when was the last time he rushed for 80? The Steelers also have a problem defending the rush, especially in that A and B gap. And I'm going to butcher his last name. Alualu.
Yeah.
Okay. This dude is good. But that A and B gap, guys, is there for the taking against the Steelers. The Ravens had a ton of success over there. And you know who's coming? The Browns. And the Browns they're a power running team. I can see them running all over the Steelers. Look, this is not only bad, this is embarrassing. This is just, let's put it like this. If the Steelers were...
My guy, boy. That's my guy right there. Mike.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. The Steelers were a pull hammy from RG3 that they might have lost even 4 in a row, right? So it's been bad. Obviously, they can turn around. The Steelers, if they're smart, they need to come hard and try to win this game against the Colts because they ain't betting the Browns. They might beat the Colts. They're not because Philip Rivers
might beat the Colts.
Because the only reason why, because Philip Rivers sometimes has those off.
Okay.
Big Ben kind of games. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Big Ben kind of games.
I'm gonna allow it this week.
He cooked turnovers, right? But they ain't not beating the Browns, okay? They're not beating the Browns.
I actually gotta go.
So before we go to Tony, this is gonna be your take now. Let's roll to these 3 super chats we have, or 2. Okay. Chris Arena said, there you go. The Ravens deserve credit for exposing the Steelers. Or was it just right time, right place? Look, I see this chatting. I think Chase Young or somebody in Washington said the Ravens show how to beat the Steelers. If that Pee Wee team of the Ravens showed the league how to beat the Steelers,
I think it was the other one. I think it's the first matchup.
Well, the reality is the Steelers has had issues throughout the year. This is why a lot of people were calling them the worst 11-0 team, right?
Yeah.
And for all they were 11-0, people were very disrespectful for a team that was 11-0, and here's why. So if you want to give credit to the Ravens, I'll take it. But I think there's a lot of problem with the Steelers team. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think you saw in that first game, right? Remember, that first game is the one where Ben Roethlisberger went into halftime in that game with something like 20 yards passing. I mean, the Steelers offense was that first half is kind of the blueprint for everything we've seen from this offense, save for 2 games, Jacksonville and Cincinnati, the first Cincinnati game. This offense actually had some life, but save those 2 games. That first half against Baltimore is everything that we would see going forward.
Okay, so Cameron Penny says, Browns winning the division. I do not care about what anyone has to say. To you, Ace, us Browns fan, we thank you. Okay,
by the way, if the Browns secure the division, I don't know what type of jersey it's going to be, but I'm getting a Ryan Finley custom made. It might be a Browns Ryan Finley number 5. Imagine.
Quincy, they need to put a Ryan Finley statue outside of Cleveland Brown Stadium. Okay, that's what they need to do.
Ryan Finley, let the Browns play the Bengals next year, and beat them down, and let Ryan Finley run out on the field. That man's it's going to sound like Jordan returned to the Bulls in that field. Okay. If the Browns actually get to pull this one off.
So Chuck here says, Steelers trending down, Browns trending up. I love it. You guys always killing it for real. I'm just sorry this is happening on Tony's honeymoon.
At first I was thinking, man, this is going to be a crappy honeymoon because I'm going to be pissed off all week. But then I thought to myself, no, you know what? This is going to be the perfect distraction that I need to not think about this crap Steeler team. Because, by the way, we don't have a show on Thursday, thank goodness, because I'm done talking about the Steeler team for a week. So I'm actually happy that this week I can think about literally anything other than these crap Steelers.
Okay, Seto, Kaiba's bank account says, let's give a hand to Stefanski for head coach of the century. Managing to get the Browns this close to the playoffs since they moved to Baltimore.
Yo,
Any other super chat?
That's how I keep
there's
this.
some more.
Yeah, there's one
Okay.
more. Yeah.
Tony, do us a solid and beat the Colts for us. They can't.
Unless they activate Duck, and that's the secret weapon we have. Wait,
Love the
By the way-
Browns.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
Love the Browns. Love this team was just as talented last year, but Freddie and Baker, yes, Baker, tanked the team. They are what they were supposed to be. And then Christine Doyle says, Q, talk over my last super chat. Haha. After the Browns Giants game, next person I hear says, Omaha. I'm kicking in the shin. Also, do you think the eject are a trap game? Oh, the Jets. I'm sorry. The Jets are a trap game. Hell no.
Yeah,
No.
but here's the thing about the Jets being a trap game.
wait. Am I allowed to take my victory lap on the Jets yet, or when does that happen?
Soon.
Oh yeah, you get to take a victory lap on the Jets.
Very soon.
But
Nailed
the
it.
Jets aren't a trap game for a couple of reasons. One, it's not like the Browns can afford to lose that game. Like if Browns lose that game, they might be out the playoffs. Like that is
yeah.
what it is. They can't afford to take any losses. Like they absolutely do need to win out. So ain't no trap games. Ain't no trap games. And we also, I heard people Steelers fans saying this. Well, the Bengals were a trap game. We were really preparing for Indy. How? You lost 3 games. You lost 2 games in a row. What are you talking about trap games? Trap games are for teams that won the week before. Like you can't be losing and be on the trap game streak. Like you ever heard of the Bengals being like, yo, this is a trap game against the Steelers right here? Like no, because they don't win. Like they won this week. But it's just, by the way, dude who said Kevin Stefanski could get coach of the century just because he got the Browns close to the playoffs. I know what you're saying. Screw you. That's not funny. That's not true. Browns are that destitute. All right.
He's going to get coach of the year though, so you're good. You're good on that.
Hey, that's
Okay.
great.
Are we all caught up, Ace?
Nah, there's a guy, I believe his name is Chuck, said that we missed his super chat.
Chuck, can you just write you have to super chat it again? Just write it. We'll be
He
checking.
said, never mind. He said, never mind.
Okay, because we did pull some chat. Okay, so Trip says, I'm proud for Baker though. Baker and Lamar running it. Okay, the moment everybody is waiting for, the floor is yours, Tony. Go.
Well, unfortunately, I've been traveling all day, so I don't have like a whole, speech. I don't have a movie quote ready. You know what I mean? To work in and go through the whole thing, eviscerate this football team. But I don't need to, right? Because if you want to know my thoughts on this team and where they are right now, go back to 2 weeks ago on this show and after the Steelers lost to Washington and replay that, because I think everything I said there was correct. I mean, this team is broken. They're not, it's fixable, yes, but it's going to take an offseason to fix this. This team right now, Steeler fans are so funny because they still want to believe, and I get it, right? It's a fan, you still want to believe this 11-0 team can still find that 11-0 thing that they had in them. But it's over. I mean, this team is getting worse week to week. Right? It was bad when they nearly lost to Baltimore's JV squad. It got worse when they did lose to Washington at home. It got worse when they got embarrassed by Buffalo by 2 touchdowns. And now, you have what has got to be the most embarrassing loss of Mike Tomlin's career. Again, you can put it up there with the Tebow game if you want to. But I think this was even worse. The Tebow Broncos team was a playoff team. This Bengals team was in full-on tank mode with Ryan Finley at quarterback. And oh, by the way, I don't know if I've said this yet. Ryan Finley ran for 27 yards on a single play, untouched, to take a 2-score lead. So yeah, that's got to be the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll save for the Chargers game in the AFC Championship game, but we won't go there.
By the way, Tony, real quick, I want to know your thoughts on this. They ran all those RPO plays with Ryan Finley.
Yeah.
They had Kevin Hogan on the bench, who was much better of a runner than Ryan Finley. Like, actually was a runner in college. So, like, something tells me, like, they were like, nah, we don't need to put Kevin in for this game plan. We'll go with Ryan. Much worse at this. It could have been worse if Kevin Hogan played.
Quincy, I'm ready to watch Phillip Rivers go 95 on a RPO next week. Okay? Literally, you could convince me that anything's going to happen to this team at this point, because once again, I can't believe what I saw last night. I cannot believe what I saw. This team is getting worse. I mean, the offensive line is getting worse. Ben Roethlisberger, look, Von Bell had a great hit. He had a great hit on Juju last night. But you know who had a better hit last night? Father Time, because Father Time hit Ben Roethlisberger pretty damn hard last night, okay? I mean, I don't understand what happened to Ben because he wasn't playing like this. Look, I did a film breakdown on this show about how well Ben Roethlisberger was reading defenses, manipulating safeties, getting guys open. If we did a film breakdown of last night's game, I mean, you're just watching him throw the ball to defenders. right? Right to defenders, not seeing defenders. The robbers that the Bengals were employing on almost every short pass were there. As I said to you guys pre-show, I think that it was very easy for Ben Roethlisberger to not just turn the ball over 2 times last night. He could have turned the ball over 5 times last night easily. So many of the passes that were sorry. See, now Quincy, sorry, Ace, you're going too far. Now you're going too far. Now you don't disrespect the terrible talent. So one thing you don't do.
The terrible towel.
But no, I look. Ben Roethlisberger is bad right now. And, he's been bad for weeks. And yes, there are legitimate questions about whether or not this guy can even play in the league anymore. People talk about his arm and his knee and all that. Can he step into throws? Is his arm messed up? He threw a great deep ball to Deontay on the touchdown. So again, his arm, he's got some juice still left in the arm. The problem for me and the problem for Ben Roethlisberger, and this is not just a 2020 problem, you can go back to 2018 when he led the NFL in interceptions, is decision-making again. And I just don't understand how we went from a quarterback who early in the year was doing such a good job of protecting the football. The interceptions that he threw early in the year were tip passes at the line and a great play by a linebacker deep in the end zone against Tennessee. Now, he's just throwing the ball directly to defenders. So I don't get it. I had to break the tape down more to see it, although I can tell you this. He was missing – not only was he throwing the ball directly to defenders, he was also missing wide open receivers plenty of times last night. Yeah, the running game, Benny Snell got going last night. Great. I guarantee you this team doesn't put up 50 yards rushing against Indianapolis. There's no chance in hell. No. So that was fun to do for a day, but I don't imagine that they've fixed this running game whatsoever. The offensive line is soft. Wide receivers are soft. Tomlin called them out for it. And once again, the problem I have, and I don't want to be a huge Tomlin critic because Tomlin's a fantastic coach, and people talking about firing Tomlin are ridiculous, right? But there is something to be said for the idea that this team is, again, it fades late in the year. We talked about it 2 years ago, right? When it was like, hey, it was just Antonio going crazy, and that's why the team kind of fell apart late in the year. Then last year you had a bunch of injuries late in the year. Duck is starting games for you late in the year. So losing to the Jets, losing to Baltimore's backups, it's embarrassing. But hey, you were winning with Mason. Now the pendulum swings back the other way, and people look the other way. But this is 3 years in a row now that this team is really imploded in playoff position. Imploded to the point where, look, this team already clinched, which, again, as I said, I'm not happy about at this point because, boy, is there any Steeler fan in chat right now that really feels like this football team in 2 weeks now against the Colts and Browns are going to turn it around to the point where they could actually win a football game? Even if they somehow miracle a win against the Colts and they get a home game in the playoffs, I still don't believe that this team is going to go and play in a playoff game and actually win. That's actually true, Ace. That's actually true. That's not even a joke. That's just the truth. I'd rather have Uncle Ben right now playing quarterback.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah. So look, I've said all I need to say about the team. It's this team has fallen apart. I don't believe that this team is going to turn it around. If they do, great. But I don't see any realistic path to this team going back to who they were midseason.
Okay. So here from John says that game should have been a blowout. No cap. Finley missed a couple of TDs to Boyd and Higgins. Should have been like 38-17, but Christmas came really early for Bengals fans. I hope we can get Sewell. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is Bengals fans also saw last night. Panay was watching the game, and so obviously we were kind of freaked out because the Jets moved up to number 2, or moved down to number 2, I should say. And we were worried because it was like, all right, that kind of throws things off. It's possible that they could take him. And apparently he was watching the game last night. And apparently there was a sign somewhere that said, Panay for your thoughts. And they tagged him on it on Instagram. And he responded and said, #Houday, and did the looking eyes like he wants to be a Bengal. So that was just the icing on the cake for me, at least last night, was seeing that happen.
Okay, and then there was another super chat that we missed.
Yeah, I got it right here. Misfit Culture TV says, Tony, sorry to laugh at your pain, yet I have to ask, are we seeing the end of the Steelers Ben era for a long time? We'll ask him that once he gets back here.
Yep.
But yeah, by the way, let me share a story about how that day went, interacting with my guy Ace Boogie, man. Ace is my guy. But, man, I woke up that Ace is in the group text. He's like, look, man, I'm real life mad. I'm like, what's wrong, Ace?
Oh yeah, we were all in. Yeah.
I think the Jets about to take my guy Panay. That's the only thing that got me through this season. And they're gonna take him from me. It's not fair. I hate this team. He was really going. Me and Sonny were like, look, bro, it's the Jets. They're not gonna be competent. Everything. Trust me, I'm a Browns fan. I done seen goofy stuff happen. Mitch Trubisky. Somebody's gonna pull a Trubisky. He's like, I don't believe it. Nah. Bengals got bad luck. I was like, when have the Jets ever made a sound decision? That's when Ace started to get back in line. But that's where Ace started the day at. He was not trying to see this game.
That's true.
He forced himself for the people to do that live stream. He was probably thinking, I'll go to bed at halftime. Like, you know. And then he ended the night smoking Steeler pack. Happiest I've seen him all year. He about to bring props. You know what? Look, football is a wild game. By the way, glad to see you back, Tony. We had a super chat that was addressed towards you from Misfit Coach. Yeah. He says, Tony, sorry to laugh at your pain. Yet I have to ask, are we seeing the end of the Steelers Big Ben era we've known for a long time?
Yeah, I think so. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. I think so. Someone in the chat said, is this the end for Ben Roethlisberger? And I think absolutely yes. This is what the end probably looks like, right? The arm is clearly not what it used to be. I mean, they started the game, and I will give credit, by the way, to the Steelers coaching staff, because I do think they actively tried to change things last night. There was more play action worked into the game. They wanted to do more intermediate throws. They had the nice crosser to Deontay. Ben just missed all these throws. I mean, he had the play action rollout to James Washington the first play. Couldn't hit him. He just could not get the ball there. Physically could not get the ball there. And then the accuracy, just all over the place with him. He overthrew a bunch of passes last night. So is this the end of Ben Roethlisberger? I think yes, right. We are either at the twilight of it, where it's just the last glimmer of it, or it's completely over and he'll retire. We're watching the last 3 games of Ben Roethlisberger's career.
It's like, and I don't mean to compare him like to Mike Tyson, but it's like when you watch Mike Tyson just get hit and tired. That's what it's like when you see Ben Roethlisberger on these clutch drives, right? Where he's supposed to be, like me and Ace before the Washington game. During the Washington game, we were like, okay, they got the one drive before he threw the interception. Right. We're like, we've seen this story a million times. And then he throws the interception. And then he goes up, has the one more drive there, to try to get the game back into a reasonable, and he just couldn't even get a yard. Goes 3 and out. Doesn't gain a single passing yard, doesn't even make it interesting. And it's like, what's going on? Like this doesn't happen. Like normally, even when Ben's having a bad game, he gets it together enough to do that. Even when he's injured, we saw it in 2015 with the Bengals, where he got it together enough to make something happen. And it's like, It's like he doesn't know that he's been on this team forever, that he hasn't been in it's a different offense technically, but it's still Big Ben's offense. Like
it's his. Oh no, this is his fingerprints all over this offense. Yeah. Of course, yeah. So, he picked the offensive coordinator.
And the sad part of it, if you're looking at this from a Steelers perspective, was I get everybody wants to fire Randy Fichtner into the sun, like it's a meme now, but
still do.
Yeah, and I get it. But like people were open, dog. Like the Chase Claypool was open on a lot of these. Like the opportunities were there. If he makes the throws, the play calling doesn't look so bad. Now some of the play calling is just bad, but
right. And then the other thing I would add to this, though, just to defend wanting to fire Randy Fichtner, is like, why did it? We're in week 15, right? This is week 15, right? So week 15, we're finally talking about, the Steelers offense is finally changing things up. They're finally starting to run more play action. They're finally starting to work some intermediate throws into the offense, right? Why did it take until week 15 before this offense is making these kind of changes?
I got to ask you, though, because right when they started to try to make these changes, you start to see Ben try to take more control of the offense, try to be more stubborn. Is it possible that Ben is just he don't want to do play action? He doesn't want to do these things. Yeah.
He does not want to do play action. We know that. That's why he has said his whole career, I don't like turning my back to the defense. By the way, if you look at the play action that they ran, it was out of the pistol, right? So he didn't really have to fully turn his back to the defense. It was more of like the shotgun RPO type stuff. And by the way, I do want to talk about his body language, right? Because I get on Lamar Jackson for this all the time. Look, Ben Roethlisberger, this game changed. You talked about it, Sonny, the game changing on the Juju fumble. I thought the game changed on the Ben fumble, the first fumble of the game when he has the bad snap and he goes to the sideline, which is kind of like this, shucks. Again, that's not what are we doing? Like he's got to get his head in the game, and he had that kind of like woe is me type of look to him, where it's like I don't like the. I'm already angry that I don't like where this offense is going. I don't like being under center. And then this happens, and it's like, he kind of had to, like, I told you so, what are we doing type of look to him, which, again, you guys talked about the mentality of this football team. And the mentality of this football team right now, not in a good place. And, Tomlin talked about they shouldn't be a confident football team, but they should at least be a disciplined football team, and they're not even that.
And, my question for this Steelers team is, the Steelers always would have that guy, The Rock. You know what I mean? Like the Heinz Ward, the Joey Porter, for whatever it's worth. The dude, you're like, okay, he might not be Joey Porter, definitely not one of the greatest players in the world ever, but Heinz Ward, definitely a very good player. He was good, but he wasn't, he's more famous for being Joey Porter than he is for playing like Joey.
They shot me in Denver.
Yeah. But it's like they've always had those dudes that are like, okay, if they're getting bullied a little bit, like they're going to punch back. Like, these guys are going to come back a little bit. The shocking thing to see was that the Bengals were pushing them around and they just submitted to it. Yeah. They just were okay with it. Like the fact that the dude was being like I forget the corner's name. Ace, I'm sorry, I haven't watched the Bengals since in a couple of weeks leading up to this game. The guy who had like a couple of picks in this, almost had a couple.
Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah. When Mackenzie Alexander had the gall to do the stupid thing where he did the taunt right in front of it. How did that not start like some kind of ruckus like that?
Well, I did Okafor. Yeah, he did. Okafor did do something.
He did something, but it's like nobody's gonna it's one dude. Like it normally, if you do that to the Ravens fans know this. If you did the slightest thing in that game that just went slightly left, it would delay the game for like 30 minutes because it wasn't gonna go down on the Ravens side and it wasn't gonna go down on the Steelers side because they were two very tough teams. And now it's like the Bengals are pushing you around, and it's like you ain't. Nobody's that. Where's TJ Watt? He's not that kind of guy. Okay. What about Cam Hayward? Okay, he's not that kind of. By the way, what happened to Cam Hayward? What did he get old too? Like, did everybody just get old in this game? Cam Hayward, I literally watched him murder one of the best left guards in football, Joe Bitonio, in week 5. Like, he literally choked Joe Bitonio in the middle of a play. I put it on my film review. I was like, this is what the Browns should remember about playing the Steelers. They did this to you. It was so bad. And he's not even able to get off Fred the sled right now. Like, what has happened to the interior that, like, I get they don't have the people on the edges anymore. You still got TJ Watt. What's happened to the interior of that defensive line?
And I thought TJ Watt, by the way, actually played a phenomenal game. I thought he made some big plays. The few plays the Steeler defense made, especially in that first half, I thought he was responsible for the majority of them. He was the one
dude I felt like was trying to actually play. Like he was the one guy I was like, okay, well, TJ wants to play. He's not going to get physical, but TJ is bringing the energy. And he's like, he tried like hell when they were down by like 10 points and he got like one little tackle for loss. He's beating his chest, trying to get everybody pumped up. Everybody's just like, let's just get back to the alignment. Let's just continue to play. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wanted to show up. Nobody wanted to be that dog. Nobody wanted to go into beast mode. Nobody wanted to, like, I have never seen a Steeler team absent of that. I've never seen a Ravens team absent of that. The Ravens always have a heart and soul. But what's the heart and soul of this Steelers team? What has it been?
Well, it should be the defense, but again, they had their worst outing of the year last year or last.
Who is the heart and soul of this Steelers team? Like, what? I don't get it. I don't know how you go from 11-0 to losing to, like, literally putting up in the last 3 weeks worse numbers than the Jets.
It's impressive. Right? It is an impressive run they're on right now.
It is like one of the wildest fall offs I have ever seen. It's almost too wild to think it's real, because even when this team was 11, I was like, there's no way they go worse than 14-2 the way they're playing, but they have just fallen off a cliff. It makes no sense. I'm thankful for it, but it makes absolutely no sense. And honestly, when you fall off this kind of cliff, like, I know people don't want to hear it, but somebody has to go. And I don't know if the offensive coordinator is going to be enough to make up for it, because if the Steelers, like, I'm just letting Steelers fans know, if y'all blow all the regular season games, give the division to Cleveland, and then lose to Cleveland the week after that in the playoffs, somebody has to get fired. It has to be somebody significant. Like, there's no way you go from 11-0 to that kind of ending to a season and people just keep their jobs. That can't happen. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're stuck with Ben until Ben wants to retire. And the 1 week you want him to retire, he wants to stay for 2 more years. He doesn't want to go away. You know, that's going to be a bigger problem than it needs to be, especially when the Steelers definitely draft a quarterback this year because they're going to have to do it. And, you know, it would have been nice if they would have took somebody like Jalen Hurts. You could have put him in. But it's just I can't explain it. And I've never seen the Steelers look like that from just they're the Steelers standpoint. Like normally when they blow something like that, they come back with some fight. You're like, okay, you know, if this game was a minute longer, the Steelers would have won that game. But no, this game could have been 4 hours longer. Steelers lose that game. And God forbid if Joe Burrow was playing, that would have been embarrassing even more because Joe Burrow might have beat you by 40. Like, it was really just that kind of a game. And I just don't know what to do with the Steelers. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know what happened, what went wrong with this team. Like, it's funny. And by the way, it's funny to watch Raven fans like laugh at this because it's the Steelers and then realize they desperately need the Steelers to get back going because they ain't gonna make the playoffs. That was the funniest thing to watch. They're like, aha, Juju's TikTok. And then like 2 hours later, like, oh, we need them to beat the Colts.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think Ace, you got to run, right?
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Enjoyed this show for sure. Tony, thanks for being a good sport, man. I truly appreciate it. You're a good guy. You're one of the good ones, as they say, when it comes to the Steelers fans. But I couldn't let Houday Nation down. But appreciate you guys. Of course, I gotta leave it with a Houday. We got this terrible tail flag, Houday flag. I don't know what it is. But smoking on that Steelers pack tonight. Houday.
Yeah, have a good Christmas.
You Take care.
What a week for Ace. They got a ring ceremony going too and everything. Oh yeah.
Before I continue here, there's a bunch of super chats, and because I log in new, I can't see them. Can you guys can you see them and can you read them?
That's what I got here is from Cameron Penny, who says, "Who do the Steelers go after in the offseason?"
Ask me in January. We'll have a lot of time to talk.
After him, there's another one though. Let me see if I can see them in YouTube.
Yeah. Well, to address Quincy, your point, like what happened here, right? I mean, again, the problem here is that this team continues to play worse, right? I mean, that is the fascinating part of what we've witnessed over the past 6 weeks for the Steelers team is that you have seen a team who has tried to address these issues that you've talked about, right? Since Tomlin came out and said, JV team, we can't have this. This is unacceptable, the way they played against Baltimore. Every week since then has been the team playing worse, right? Offensively, and now we've seen it defensively as well.
So it says Cam 1-year deal as Steelers QB 2021. That was from Steve Pleskash. Hopefully I didn't.
You want Cam Newton as a Steelers quarterback? I've seen a lot.
2021. Cam Newton fell off the cliff too. Now it was after COVID, so who knows? By the way, we have
and Ben on the same depth chart, like they're just battling it out.
I don't imagine.
By the way, cut Big Ben.
They're not going to cut Big Ben, but I don't imagine. I think he kind of goes. I think if it continues like this team loses 5 straight, and then they lose in the playoffs. I don't imagine Ben Roethlisberger's like, let me run this one back real quick.
So you don't think he collects that big check he has next year?
No, I think he'll go. I think he'll walk away.
Well, if they do that, somebody big has to go. Like Big Ben might have to take that one for Mike Tomlin because, you can't come back and run it back after doing that. There's got to be changes.
Well, you're right. And here's the thing. So this is why I think you're right. Is because I think Rooney talks to Ben and says, look, man, you can't look, if you come back, we're firing Fiechner. Like, we're just going to bring in a new OC because, right now, you can't really blame what's happening on Keith Butler and the defensive coordinator, right? Because it's not his fault. You're not going to fire Tomlin. My goodness, you're not going to fire Tomlin. So, the next big piece to go would be Randy Fiechner. So you're telling Ben, either if you are coming back, we are getting a new offensive coordinator and someone like a Todd Haley that you're not necessarily going to like, but it's going to be good for you, or you're just going to have to retire, right? And I think what ultimately happens, the big thing that happens is Ben goes and then they get rid of Fiechner because Fiechner was handpicked by Ben anyway.
Okay, so before we keep going, I will say Big Ben, $42 million cap hit next year. If he retires, it's a $22.25 million cap hit. But then, so there's
give that to Juju, send it right to TikTok. I mean, think about the TikTok that Juju can make with 22.
I don't think. Look, Juju right now, for all the crap that we had given my boy Soldier, Soldier has more yards than
I wanted
Juju.
to amend that one, Sonny. We have been calling Soldier Boy Brown, Doo-Doo Brown, Boo Boo Brown, Pookie Brown. You know what? It's time for the disrespect to stop. He had a decent game against the Jaguars.
Yeah, decent
The
game.
Jaguars, but he had a
The
decent game.
Jaguars.
I'm not somebody who's going to slide him for that. You know, it seems like that catch, that Pookie to Pookie catch, kind of reignited something in him that got him running routes a little bit better.
Yeah.
So you know what, Marquise Brown, you are no longer Boo Boo Brown. For Boo Boo Smith-Schuster. Oh boy, you got the crown, baby. You the punching bag now, Boo Boo. I don't know what you got the TikTok, the meme. Oh man, you the most famous pass receiver on the internet. Like
I believe. By the way, Larry Fitzgerald passed him. Now he has the least yards per attempt in the league right now. Juju.
So right now we are 653 people here. Please get a like, share the video. Also hit the bell because I know a couple of you guys have been talking or asking, can we do a player prediction for the last 2 weeks? I don't know if we can do it or not, but if we ended up doing, guys, the only way you will know is if you hit that bell. Okay, let's move on very quickly for next week's game. I don't think we need to talk about the Ravens-Giants. That should be a ECW for the Ravens. There should not be any mystery there. Ravens are playing for their playoff lives. Every game for the Ravens. Same thing for the Browns. It's a playoff game. Same thing here for the Browns. I don't think we need to talk much. I don't know if Q, you have anything to say, but this is a playoff game for the Browns. Should not be a trap game. It should not be overlooking. If they lose, they can well be out of the playoff race. So they need to win. Anything you want to say about the Browns?
No, this should be a great time to hit Brinkle's super chat right there because I think it's kind of pertinent to what we're going to have to talk about when it comes to this, which is what has to happen for all three teams to make the playoffs. If that happens, who likely makes it to the next round? I think the most likely thing is the Raiders getting that win on Saturday, and then the Ravens will be in. And the Ravens will be in if they win out, and the Cleveland Browns will be in if they just beat the Jets. So that will clinch all three because the Steelers are clinched no matter what. They're going to make it.
It's just the division is on the line. If they continue to collapse, they will lose the division.
Yes. Yeah. So that's all that's going to be on the line there. As far as who's going to be able to make it to the next round, I think. You know, the Baltimore Ravens might be in third place, but I think they're playing the best football right now at the right time, so they're pretty dangerous right here. Cleveland Browns seem to be putting it together. I got to see what their defense looks like going into the playoffs before I can predict anything wild. But, you know, I think it's obvious which two teams look like they can advance and which team looks like they might struggle in the first round, or looks like a team that you might want to lose a game here if you can, to angle yourself so you do play them. Like the
Steelers, by the way, and Steeler fans, I mean, we need to admit this, right? I mean, the Steelers are now the worst 11-0 team that has ever existed in the National Football League, right? Well, what we are about to witness, a team going 11-0 and then losing 6 straight games. I don't think that's ever. I mean, I don't have to go on. I don't have to go on a limb. That's never happened before in the National Football League. And the sad part, Steeler fans, is that the Steelers are the team right now that every team in the playoffs, every fan base, they are all jockeying. Trying, hey man, if we can play the Steelers in the first round, that'd be great. Because look, I got very upset. that they were adding a 7th team this year to the playoffs. So credit to the Steelers for keeping it at 6 playoff teams and giving 2 bye weeks to whoever's going to make it.
The reality is, I think if the Browns win the division, what you're going to see is probably that first week of the playoff is going to be Browns Steelers in Cleveland. Meaning the Steelers probably will fall to the 5th seed and the Browns will hold that 4th seed.
It would be if the Browns make it, they're gonna be the 3 seed.
You're right.
They'll be 12 and 4. So it would be 3-6. Yeah, it would be 3-6.
Right. But there still will be the Steelers, because if the Steelers lose to the Colts, even if Tennessee loses this week to the Packers, the Colts will have the tiebreaker over the Steelers, so the Colts will be number 5, and then the Steelers will be 3. Yeah, so it's probably going to be the Browns no matter what if the Steelers don't win one of the next 2. So it will be the Browns Steelers, I'm pretty sure, that first week, and then the Browns can just shellac them again. Okay.
Well, we gotta beat them the first time. We got to beat them the first time before we put 2 victories on them.
Okay, you're right. Okay, here from Richard says, oh, before, no, let's go take this one, because this is a Steelers. Does Carson Wentz make sense for Pittsburgh and stays in Pennsylvania? Tony, I'll let you.
Not on his contract. I mean, no, the Steelers are going to be cap strapped next year. Even if they get rid of Ben, they're still going to be cap strapped next year. I imagine if they do save the money on Ben, I think they go out and get a cheap quarterback and/or draft a quarterback, and maybe even both. But they're going to use that money likely to keep defensive players, maybe keep Bud or keep someone like a Mike Hilton or a Cam Sutton. So no, I don't think Carson Wentz, unless he gets cut and they can get him on a cheap deal.
Carson Wentz is almost untradeable, but his contract is not bad in a trade. You're talking about 15.4 base. That's all you had to pay. That's what happened with the Browns and OBJ. His contract wasn't bad. Then it's 22, and then it's 20. The problem is Carson.
Trade man for Carson?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think the Steelers want to pay $15 million for a guy that is a project, right? You can go get a project right now and a guy like Jameis Winston, and you can pay him $5 million a year and work that out.
$5? He's there for $1 million.
He's playing. But you're going to give him Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold is another reclamation project that you could work on. There are guys like that. You should get Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year and work on Zach Wilson.
So Monk says, as a Browns fan, I don't want the Ravens in playoffs. Let's go Dolphins, baby. Okay.
There's a part of me that really wants that matchup, Browns-Ravens, that rematch there again, because I definitely want that Marcus Peters rematch. But also, the Ravens are pretty good right now. So, if they go out, you got to either play chess or you got to, play with your emotions right there. I'm torn on what I want there, but, Marcus Peters makes it hard.
Yep. And then the other thing is the Bengals-Texans game. I don't think we need to talk about that game. I think, I will say the Bengals, I used to say the Bengals had no shot, but they just beat the Steelers. Although I think the Texans are playing better than the Steelers. So I'm going to give it to the Texans also because the Bengals probably don't want to win any more games. Because if they do, they're definitely out of the Panay pick. So, yep.
Yeah, the Bengals don't care what they do for the rest of the season. They can lose every game. They don't care. They beat the Steelers. That's all they wanted out of this. It's literally the old rivalry cliche where you're like, well, if we beat Michigan, it's worth it. Well, I mean, I guess it's true. I guess it's true because I don't think Ace would even want them to win another game. No, the Bengals are good, bro. They have won all the games they feel like they needed to. Zach Taylor going to get a 4-year extension, and that's going to be great for the AFC North.
Yep. And then Jake here says Steelers future quarterback Zach Wilson, highly talented QB on BYU, playing now against UCF on ESPN in a bowl game. Shout out to
everybody right now. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta watch my boy. Listen, I gotta do some scouting here. I'm with Ace. I'm just looking at draft boards. I'm scouting players. Listen, I'm done evaluating future games.
Okay, so shout out to everybody here joining the live stream. We have 600 people. Go ahead and hit that like because we are under 300. Shout out to all of you. Ace had a previous thing that he was doing. That's why he had to go. And then here, before we go, Steelers and Colts, so we can finish the stream. Feeling Danger says, appreciate y'all taking your time in holiday season to do this. Enjoy every time. I appreciate all of you guys joining us. Let's talk real quick. Steelers, Colts, I'll give you the floor cue. What do you think about this game?
I mean, look, the only reason I'm going to go with the Steelers here is just because I can't believe they're going to bottom out like this. There is no, and I thought it was no way it would happen against Cincinnati. There's something in me. The Steelers have been so good in my lifetime. They have dominated the Browns so much. Big Ben I can't imagine them being this dysfunctional that the wheels fall off like this. I will enjoy every second of it, but I can't predict it. I can't say that that's gonna happen. I feel like in the back of my head they're gonna turn it around somehow. I don't know. Maybe the Bengals game was just a weird game. I want to say they're going to get right after that game because it was so embarrassing, but this has been going on for a while. Look, there's nothing logical going into this pick. The Indianapolis Colts, should, as much as the Browns should have beaten the Giants, should beat the Giants, were predicted to beat the Giants. Yeah. No. As much as that's how much it is for the Colts. This is a layup. They're trying to fight for their division, playoff seeding. They are well equipped to beat the Steelers when they're playing well. They're especially well equipped to do this. They have a good secondary, strong defensive line. They can run the ball quite well. Phillip Rivers can do the short passing stuff that seems to work against the Steelers. He just can't do the RPO, but they got Jacoby Brissett out there. He can run a little bit. He's faster than Ryan Finley if they need to do it. And it's not like the Steelers are going to commit just because they see Jacoby Brissett walk on the field because, it was dead obvious what they were going to do at some of these points. And it took Mika Fitzpatrick saying enough to stop it one time. Like it really
one-on-one, no one else around,
nobody else. It was literally a heroic effort because the guy would have like gotten the first down and probably like 20 more yards if Minka didn't do it, because Minka was the only one trying to do it. Again, two guys on that defense that are everything for them. They have nothing else in between there as far as like, you know, old Steelers mentality goes there. But I can't, dude. The Steelers have just destroyed the Browns so much. I can't just imagine that they pull a full Browns. Like they just completely collapse in December. I can't predict that. That's not gonna happen, right? Like, but you lose to the Bengals, dog. You kind of just don't need to win for the rest of the year. But you know what I mean? Yeah. I that's where I'm at with it. It makes no sense. I'm not being logical. This is not Quincy who gets the spreadsheets and shows you the mismatches and, like, you know, does a whole PFF analytic thing to tell you who has the edge. Look, there's no reason in the world the coach should lose this game. But I just can't imagine that the Steelers are going to be this bad and this embarrassing for this long of a stretch in the season after being that good to start it. But, you know, crazier things have happened.
Okay, so this is my take. I'm gonna throw up. I'm rooting for the Steelers, obviously, because I need them to win. Although if Vegas starts coming hot and quick and they pull up, I'm turning that rooting for let's go Colts. Now,
you want a chef's hat? I got a chef's hat. I can
no, hell no. I purposely don't own anything yellow that I can remember. Okay, but the reality is, if the Steelers want to win this game, there's two things they need to do. They need to stop the run badly, right? They can't let Taylor has fumble issues, right? So if he runs, try to, you know, punch that ball out. But second, this is a Minka type of game, right? Minka's that guy. Philip Rivers likes to throw those picks here and there. This is that game. The Minka in the secondary needs to step up, because the only way the Steelers win is that defense. Imagine last year when you have Rudolph there and you're like, well, this offense has to have a shot. You need that defense to overplay, overstep. That's what they need to do. They have two tough opponents. The reality is, I'm going to keep saying this, there's no way they're going to beat the Browns. I think the Browns are way better right now than the Steelers. There's a way they can beat the Colts, because the Colts are also sometimes offensively challenged. The problem is that defense is pretty good. That Steelers offense is pretty bad. So right now, the only way I can see the Steelers winning is if that defense comes in, punch them in the mouth. And it's also, the other good thing is it's in Pittsburgh, and the Colts are a dome team, right? And Rivers is not used to, you know, playing in the cold. He came from San Diego. So there's a couple elements there working for the Steelers team, but the Steelers did lose to the Bengals. I had no faith in the Steelers winning. My Ravens fans are asking me like, "Oh, Sonny, so we should be making like, I don't know, man. Like, if you ask me right now, I think the Ravens probability is they're gonna miss the playoff on 11-5, because you need the Browns to lose and the Colts to lose. Well, both of them are going to the Steelers. I had no faith in the Steelers. I had no faith in Vegas, but that's your best chance, right? Miami losing to Vegas, and the other one is Buffalo. But if Buffalo's smart, they're going to wrap up that second seed, so they should just rest everybody. They take that bye on week 17 and come first to play. It's going to be hard for the Ravens to make it. Even at 11-5, it's going to be hard because the Steelers became trash at a bad time for the Ravens. Anyway, saying that...
You did this to us. You did it. You did it to yourself. Congratulations.
I'm pulling for the Steelers, but I don't think the Steelers are going to win. Before we go, Tony says, Jake Evans, Steelers going to lose out and Browns going to win the division. Calling it now. I agree with him. Okay,
yeah,
Tony.
How do you call it now? Wait, I don't understand calling it now. Hey, I just watched the Steelers lose to one of the worst teams in the league. I think they might lose to two better teams than the Bengals. Like, I don't understand calling it now. I just don't understand this. Yes. Look, what's my prediction for this game? The Steelers are going to lose by 1,000. Ben Roethlisberger, I mean this literally. Ben Roethlisberger is going to at least throw 3 interceptions in this game, possibly more.
Wow.
5 in the game. I mean, this guy is not seeing the field whatsoever. Now, I agree with you, Quincy, that some part of me does think like, no, this is the one where they turn it around. Like, this is the one where like somehow, some way this team comes out and looks like they did mid-season. Here's the thing. My heart is saying that, but that's the part of me that's a Steeler fan, right? The logical part of me that's watched this team for the last 7-8 weeks play complete trash football. This team's going to get blown out of the building like they should when they continue to play this style of football. So Yeah, look, we were talking about seeding, a second ago. My brother and I were talking about seeding yesterday when we were watching the game. We're talking about draft seeding because, by the way, Steeler fans, you want some plus side. If the Steelers do lose out, 11-5 is what pretty much every wild card in the AFC is going to be. So if the Steelers were to lose out and be 11-6, they could still get a low 20s draft pick. So the Steelers, picking 20, 21, 22, that puts you right in range of a Trey Lance or a Zach Wilson.
How can you be thinking about the draft now?
Way this is real. There's no way this is real. There's no way. This is no. I'm not hearing a Steeler fan draft position while the Browns are out here talking about the division. Like, this is not something that's actually happening.
I'm not sure, Quincy. I'm not sure if you saw this last night, but Ryan Finley ran an RPO keeper where he ran 27 yards untouched for a touchdown to give the Bengals a 2-possession lead. That happened.
To be fair, this is something also that everybody in the chat needs to know. This is why I said the Browns are not going to overlook anybody. There is a potential that the Browns lose to the Steelers and they don't make the playoffs. That's still there. They can win the division. They can
it's very possible that game could be either you win the division or you don't. Or
you're out. Yes.
So for the Browns. So that's it could be. It's very possible. It just takes everybody to keep winning. So
listen,
that's what.
If Duck is playing Week 17, Browns are in trouble.
Duck
did beat us. But it's just, by the way, Sonny, when you're like, hey, well, the coach could be offensively challenged, it's like, they just lost the Ryan Finley, though. Like,
that is true.
When you talk about Phil Rivers throwing interceptions, like, will this be one of those historic interception number games, or will they both just turn the clock back and play like it's 2007? Either thing could happen. I don't know, but there's no way in my lifetime I'm going to see the Steelers do something more embarrassing than I've ever seen the Cleveland Browns do in my entire life. Like, I just don't think that's possible.
Stay tuned.
Because the Browns have never, the Browns had that 7-4 season where they were in first place in November, and then they started Johnny Football, and it just all went to Duke, and that was pretty embarrassing. But 11-0, just to after that, that's got to be one of the most embarrassing things. Other than the only thing I think that tops it is how the Bengals blew the 2015 wild card game. I think that's the only thing that could top that. That's how the Steelers go out this year. And I'm like, there's no way the Steelers do that. Like, the Steelers of all teams do that. I was worried the Browns are going to do that after the bye week when they were 5-3. I was like, okay, we're going to pull a Carolina. We're going to do that. I was worried about it. There's no way. There's a part of me that I'm sorry, it's too much of a fan. I'm like, I can't believe they're actually going to do that, but it sure looks really possible.
Yeah, and it's sad that, man, this sucks that an 11-5 team might not make the playoff, even if it is the Ravens or the Browns. That will suck. And the crazy thing is, as me and Q were talking about before the game or before the stream, on a year that you have 7 seeds, right? So you would think 11-5 with 7 seeds, 11-5 is gonna make it no matter what.
Guaranteed it.
No. It's crazy. Shout out to the Ultimate Sport TV for that donation. I appreciate the donation, my friend. Okay, so wrapping up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, also another interesting note about that. This division is so good, but it's ironic that the team that might be the most dangerous when it comes to the playoffs this year might be the one that just doesn't make it because of circumstance.
Very probable.
And the team that absolutely should not be there the way they're playing in the last few weeks is guaranteed to be there. It might be in a situation where the Ravens are the team that I feel like if they get in, they can legitimately get to the Super Bowl. The way that they're playing, the way that they finally got things together, if they get that defense back healthy and everything else. And it would be tragic for Ravens fans if they just did not make it.
Yeah, I agree.
But, that's
that
just
damn Patriots game. That damn Patriots game. Anyway, guys.
Sonny, one more thing before we go, because my brother points it out in chat. That's right. The Steelers, this idea that the Steelers running game was so good last night, they still can't get a single yard.
I saw that on the goal.
Yard.
Oh my God, I saw that.
They cannot get a single yard. It is pathetic. It's pathetic to watch. I can't.
I didn't say that was good. I said by Steelers standard, it was one of the best games I've ever seen.
I know what you're saying.
Legitimately, when you were like, yo, the Steelers had a good game, and you read the rushing line, I was like, yo, Nick Chubb had an awful game against New York, and that's exactly what his stat line was.
Yeah,
we were like, well, Baker had to carry the team against New York, and
I agree. It cost me my profit. Anyway, guys, we have more than 500 people watching, 325 likes. As we wrap up, please give it a like. My boy Ace Boogie is not here, so make sure you check your his channel, News Tribe City. Again, News Tribe City also on Twitter. Q, where they can find you, bro?
Find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carey. You can also find me on Twitter at Quincy. I'm always tweeting the funnies, and I know Tony sometimes engages with me, not during the games usually, but he engages with me every once in a while. Sonny engages with me all the time. I like to have fun on Twitter, like to have fun on YouTube. You can also find me just wondering, what universe am I in? Where are we at right now that this is happening? You know, I felt like the logical part of me that the Browns are going to be good this season, but I had no idea that it'd be week 17 or 16 and the Browns still have a legitimate shot to win the AFC North title and the Ravens don't. It's just, what universe are we in? Somebody definitely time traveled and vetoed that AJ McCarron trade, because it's the only way this timeline exists. I'm convinced of it. This doesn't make any sense.
It's 2020.
Nothing about this year makes any sense. But, hey, 10-4, I'll take it. So hopefully the Browns can finish it out. Hopefully I don't join Tony on the oh my gosh, I can't believe we blew it like that train, and Sonny's out here laughing and celebrating the Super Bowl. So hopefully that's not how it goes down. But, what a ride, y'all. Is this the last AFC North talk of 2020? Or are we going to have one next week before the year?
We'll have one next week.
Oh, yeah. We got one more show before the end of 2020. And again, guys, thank you for showing up. 700 in chat.
This is awesome.
But, yeah, hit the like button. Because, when you hit the like button, Tony gets a little bit more miserable. And I know that's what y'all came here for.
Yeah. Okay, Zach Wilson hype train. Go ahead, man.
You can find me drowning my sorrows in this honeymoon. You won't see or hear from me again for a week. I guarantee you that. Because I don't get back from this thing till next Tuesday. So I'm going to spend this time not thinking about the Steeler team. I'll see if I have the option of not watching the Steeler game on Sunday because I will still be traveling, but I may try to find a bar to sneak in and just maybe watch the first half. It's about all I could take right now of this team. But you can follow me on Twitter at Steeler Country, and you can find me on Locked On Steelers every Tuesday with my friend Chris Carter.
And guys, you can find me SCG Sport and all the social media platforms that you follow. Also, SCG Sports on YouTube. Go check my channel. I do live halftime on IG. And obviously, AFC North Talk, 5:45 p.m. Eastern. Remember, we might do a playoff picture, especially, I don't know if next week at some point. There's no schedule for that, so make sure you hit that bell. That way, if we change the schedule, boom, you know what it is. We try to keep it Tuesday and Thursday, but obviously the holidays on Thursday, especially these Thursdays, are not conducive for that. Anyway, thank you, everybody, to join. Thank you for all those Browns fans, Bengals fan, Ravens fan that came all hype, Steelers fan. I'm sorry, but not sorry, but win the damn game next week.
There were a couple of them there. I got to give credit to Steeler fans who showed up today, by the way, because there were more than I thought there would be. Yeah, that was pretty cool for you guys to show up today.
For sure. Take care, guys.
Unlike the Steelers last night.